more rain today, so there was no work outside. I have not been back over to the fields to check them, to pick up the wet, broken bales or anything. So a couple of times today, I finally did put the batteries in the. That's a trouble with a weather station. The battery that sends the signal and measures to the base station was on the fritz. Some days it was fully charged and everything was functioning, and then 12 hours later, 6 hours later, randomly it would crash to zero and then it'd go back up. I know there's a little solar charger thing up there that keeps it maintained. I don't know. Anyway, but it dropped out. So I put new batteries in. We can finally measure the rain, the amount that the rain is falling. So I know at some point yesterday evening we were getting hammered. It had to have been close to an inch an hour. It didn't stay at that rate, but it certainly wasn't dry. And it's rained pretty much steadily all day today with some pretty heavy downpours. So I don't think there's any chance of getting out into those fields anytime soon, because we're expected to have more rain next week. So while it's raining, and a week from tomorrow is our first supper up in the loft, so I've got to get the stairwell cleared and everything. And we decided build a wall right here. Just kind of this area here, don't get dizzy, is meant to be the shop. Right now it's just the cheese hut outside. So when and everything around here is at a glacial pace, because it's mostly just me building it and whatever. So that is meant to be there where that blue window is, and behind this door there and through that other room is the bulk tank room. And then somebody's here. That's meant to be the dairy washroom once the pipeline system is up, but we need to get it going so we can wash stuff now. But this is unheated right for the moment because we've got big gaping holes. So I fixed the floor in that room. It was rotten and there was a big hole in it when I built that room a couple years ago, and turned out that the floor here was mostly missing and rotten, and we've been walking on a plank over this big hole right here for years. So today's the day. Tackling it, gonna try and replace this, patch in this floor, and get this wall built. Well, after another day of ungodly amounts of rain, probably 3/4 of an inch, inch and a quarter, something like that. Our rain gauge was broken, so I'm not exactly positive, judging from what filled up in a coffee cup I set out this morning. The grazing field is a pond, standing water. You can't see it, but this whole area, everywhere you walk, is standing water. We're almost to the end of it, and they're down the woods, which is even wetter. But the big takeaway is there's no way I'm getting equipment anywhere on any fields for days, and that's dry days. This is ridiculous. So one vital piece of equipment here on the farm that you wouldn't really think is that vital is the milking stool. Now we milk in this temporary modified parlor. I designed this parlor to imitate what's called a low-cost Iowa parlor, which is a sort of a pit parlor with fast throughput, where the cows are elevated, but they're also standing at a slight angle facing downward. So this floor slopes to the front wall, which causes the cows to back up. It's sort of a physical, psychological thing. And it's also tipped from the door that they walk in. It's tilted up a little bit to force them, because also the incline, they want to get to the top and kind of holds them in the first place. It worked fine when there were 3 cows that were younger. But now that we have full-size adult cows, only 2 fit in at a time. It would be really hard to fit the 3rd one in anymore, and we could only ever milk 2 at a time, so having the 3rd one in didn't really make sense. If we could fit 4 in, now that we have the right pump, if I can get it going, we could milk 4 at a time, but the parlor is much too small, because we also have a ramp in and a ramp out. We used to bring the cows in that gate, send them out this gate and around, so there was a bit faster. Now we have to use that one gate at a time because it's just too mucky out behind. The weather patterns changed. The cleaning out the yard outside the parlor has altered the ground level, and it really needs to be concreted. And this needs to be moved, and we need to get a permanent parlor. But until that happens, because both Allison and I started out hand milking cows, where you sit on a stool and a stationary stool and you milk the cows, we decided in this parlor, because we both have bad backs, sitting on a rolling type chair works great, except, and this is one of the best ones, we've been through many iterations of wheeled chairs. It's hard because not only is there manure in here and urine, which are both corrosive, but also this thing gets sprayed down regularly to keep the manure and the urine off of it. And at some point during the course of the day, depending on other things, there can be mud and dirt in here on the floor. We track it in on our boots. We do try to keep it clean, and we clean it up every day, but what happens is these wheels, these casters, the cheap ones rust out and get packed full of debris and just fail. We're on our 4th style of stool, and we're on this one, it's lasted the longest, and we're on our 3rd set of wheels. We had an original set that failed. They'd given us a replacement set, and already they just wear out. The connection becomes loose, and there's just a mess. So I've ordered some better lifetime quality office chair wheels that are a little nicer. We'll see how well these last. They're a little taller, which is a problem for me because the stool's already as low as it goes. But these are supposed to be more durable and better. So I'm going to knock out the last one and put this one in and call this project done. I'm also going to be working down here, putting in the new vacuum lines. The old backup temporary vacuum pump and the little vacuum pump that we had to milk 2 cows, and the one that burned up last summer, both used 1-inch used 1-inch PVC in connections. The bigger vacuum pump needs 2-inch PVC, so I'm going to run a new line, which is fine because we'll leave the backup pump and it's a setup for now, and we'll run the second one. So because as I found out, the generator won't run the bigger vacuum pump because it's 220 and just does not have enough juice to put out to be able to run the bigger motor. So if we have a power outage, we'll have to drop back to the single motor. But at least we have that option now. Before, we didn't have any option if there was no power. Well, we could turn the generator on and run the little pump. But so I'm just going to knock this last caster off and get this job done anyway. So Those fly out like that. New caster goes in and just gets clonked. And yes, I'm using a crescent wrench to do my hammering because it was what was down here and I had to do this, so. Oh, luxury. It's a little too high for me though. But oh, this is the way it should be. It rolls so nicely. Whee! Okay. So hopefully that will make it easier. Sometimes it moves too nice. Yeah, these wheels really are terrible. They wore out in many different directions, and I don't think it's been, I want to say it was the fall or midwinter when we replaced these. So those are garbage. And on to the next thing.
As God intended.
Well, the moo call's just gone off, and I've been out in the field to count the cows and look for Trixie. I can't find her. How did I miss her? So I walked back to the barn to look for her, and I don't see her. How did I miss a cow? Should be 15 cows in the field. I'm only counting 14. 1, 2. Oh, now I count 15. I don't get that. One must have been behind another one. But where is Trixie? Is that her? She got facing away from me with a moo call. I was expecting to see the moo call on her tail. All right. Her tail is elevated. Hard to say. Basically, once the barn calves are born in the spring, any calf born on pasture doesn't get quite the same notoriety. Hello, Libby baby. Hi, Trix. How you doing, sweetie? Hi, beautiful. Hi, flies are good. Yeah, I think it's just fly activity. So, that's good. I'm not prepared to have a calf today. Let's hope it was just a false alarm. It was the first. Usually 2 alerts happen. One after about an hour of activity, and then another one if the cow is giving birth about an hour later or thereabouts. I'm just taking a break from brush cutting here in the edges of the pasture. It's one of those necessary but annoying jobs I have to do. I noticed there's a limb down on the fence. Fortunately, it's not bothering anything. It's not an immediate concern. I can let it ride. But I want to get more of this brush cutting done. We've got a lot of awkward little areas like this apple orchard here that we let the cows graze in. Just 4 or 5 trees, a couple oaks, and it's hard. It can't get a mower in there or anything. Can't get a tractor in there easily. It's on a steep slope, so it's just as easy to use a mulching blade on a brush cutter. And what I try and do, I walk some of the areas of the pasture. I really should go out and do the island, Stone Island there, because there's some brush there. But I want to get the places they actually graze, because as soon as the briars grow up to about a foot and a half tall, it scars up their teats and their udders. So, and they don't care. So they'll just graze until they're bloody if they want. And it doesn't seem to bother them, but it bothers me when I have to go milk them, kick. So I like to go through. I see a bunch of places I missed. I'm trying to get as many of the thistles and wild roses knocked down, and burdock, big burdock that are going to seed. This should take me 2 hours to do the whole farm if I really did a thorough job. I'm just doing a blitz today. Gonna spend a little bit of time in the next couple days, just a little bit each day, getting this done. Yeah, I could spray chemicals. I don't like doing that. I'm not that guy. So mechanical deterrent methods are the way to go. I don't like chemicals. It's impractical to get any kind of piece of equipment in a lot of these places, certainly down the forest, the silvopastures. So it's just easier to walk through and do this, and I can lop the odd brush down. A mulching blade is great because it has little tabs on the end that help really shred stuff. So I can obliterate some of the roses and things, and they're just gone. I don't have to pick up anything. It's just basically chips and strings. So that's what I'm spending some of the time today. It was supposed to be raining by now, so I'm actually glad that it isn't. Yesterday was clear. Today is clear. I think tomorrow is supposed to be pretty much the same as today, and then some rain. But anything to dry up the ground. It's too wet for me to go out and do any kind of field work, to harvest that, clean up those bad bales or any of that stuff. It's just too wet. So I'm going to let it ride for a couple days. This field is starting to dry up nicely. So if it's not going to rain tomorrow, if we're getting rain on Thursday or Saturday, it's Monday today. So tomorrow's Tuesday, Wednesday anyway. I may try and sneak on here late tomorrow before rain, and get some fertilizer spread. I just ordered a bunch of pasture seed, some white clover to intersperse with everything everywhere, help boost the white clover content. I got some Japanese millet, which grows really good in the heat. It's a summer annual, and I'm going to plant it anywhere there's exposed soil, anywhere in the marginal areas that aren't really growing grass. I'm going to throw some of that millet in there and hope to get a heavy crop of something on that ground. This pasture is starting to peak. Maybe it's just because it's so wet, maybe because we've had a few more warm days. I don't know. It's just the growth everywhere has slowed way down. So that's I'm getting nervous that we're going to end up with a summer slump early. So I want warm season annuals growing. And so I got some of that. I got some oats and peas, some mix, and then some fescue, orchard grass, meadow fescue mix, so that I can cover areas later in the season. Those areas in the field that I messed up that I'm going to have to fix. I want some things to oversee that. If I can, I might throw some millet in there just so I have something extra to cut when I come to second cut. We'll see. Anyway, I got to get back to this. So you can probably tell by the noise, I got the vacuum pump going. Milking 2 cows at once, and it's going well. It saves us a lot of time. I only wish we could now get the full side parlor done with 4 cows at a time. If we could milk 4 cows in 10 minutes, that'd be awesome. First supper of the year is on Sunday this week. So we do them just during June to October. Limited number of guests, they sell out within a day. This year, we were grateful that it sold out so fast. So we're refreshing the downstairs bathroom because for the last at least 8 years, guests coming, many of who repeat and come to dinners every single year, have seen the same old boring bathroom. So we're gonna give it a little bit of touch up. I've started painting the cabinets. I'm gonna paint the walls and the ceiling and replace this really weird and annoying toilet. The bathroom is incredibly small. The toilet, I never quite got it. It's not a normal toilet. Maybe it was the budget option, but it's not a super flush. It's not a jet flush. It's not anything other than really slow and obnoxious. and there's no way to adjust how tight the seat is from anywhere around the toilet. You got to basically come in through the back of the toilet to do any of that. And it's our hard water has eaten a disgusting ring through the enamel. So time to jettison it. And we're recycling a toilet from a project that a friend of ours was involved in. So hopefully the new toilet. Sorry, I saw I spilled some paint there. So we're also going to put a new mirror in here, and probably won't change the lights because today is Tuesday. I have until Friday to do this because Friday and Saturday I'll be prepping to cook for Sunday, Saturday mostly, but Friday is I've got things doing. I forgot to feed the pigs this morning, and if I had, I might have noticed we had a litter of piglets. Now, I hadn't noticed that the gilt was about to farrow. And yeah, maybe I won't film this. Little first time gilt right there. And the only reason I know there were piglets is because when the pigs spilled out of that hut, the piglets came flying out with them. That's not going to be good. That's the only dry hut they're using. Really need pig housing. Well, it's just gone 3 o'clock and moo call went off twice tonight. Went out in the field to check Trixie, but false alarm. Guess we get a couple more hours of sleep. I think she'll have her calf today though. Day 2 of painting the bathroom. Starting to come together. See what happens. Painting is not my forte. Well, I'm down here at Farnsworth on a rather greasy screen, which just made it worse. Trying to clean up some of those bales that burst open on me the other day. This is the first instance of decent weather since that happened. It's been dry for a couple of days. This part of the field, still appallingly bad. Just soaking wet. And I gotta go down and pull up a bale down at the end if I can get there. This field is hammered. As soon as I'm done cleaning up the bales, I'm gonna spread a little urea on it. And I'm gonna overseed it with some Japanese millet and some white clover mixed in with the seed. I don't think it'll be up for second cut, but hard to say. We're supposed to get a little bit of rain, about a 1/4 inch of rain tomorrow. That'll help wash in the urea, kick everything growing, regrowth for second cut, and hope that this next coming week I'll be able to get into the field. I'll do another small field test, make sure I can get the baler running right, and then cut the big field and hopefully get it baled and start baling, because the weather seems like it's turned. It isn't as wet as it's been, and fields are going by, so I've got to get that baler going and get first cut done. It is raining again. We're expecting a light rain today. I hope that's all we get. We haven't had rain for a week, which has been great to help dry things out, which meant I was able to get on our big grazing pasture and spread fertilizer yesterday. And on the 3 small fields. And I cleaned up, there's video, cleaned up the broken bales that I didn't get pulled in during the other rainstorm last week that are a little clearer. I'm down here in the forest setting up grazing lines, and I'm actually amazed at the growth over the last week. I was down here measuring grass Monday, I think, and it wasn't nearly like this. And more amazed to see all the white clover in bloom. That's great. I only just learned that clovers are a Mediterranean plant. I had no recollection of knowing that, and don't think I knew it. And it likes heat, so I know that white clover tends to bloom on the second cut. And I know that white clover, so I guess I didn't realize that part of that is because of the extra heat later in the season. Now, clovers are included in our mixes of cool season perennial grasses here in New England. So I just always assumed that they were some kind of cool season perennial like that. But knowing that, especially white clover being a Mediterranean plant, that it likes the heat, that it blooms. The great thing about white clover is not only does it actually fix more nitrogen, I think, than the red clover, but it's also less stemmy, spreads across the ground better, and has some different digestibility factors, which are better for dairy cattle especially, but better for cattle. So I've always included some form of white clover in my mixes. I just bought some new white clover seed called Renovation, which is supposed to be really hardy across a range of pHs and soil conditions. So I'm excited to see how that's going to go. I have to keep pressing on. I'm running line here before milking. So be interesting to see how that goes. But I've also, down here, the regular red clover is in bloom. And then I call it mammoth red clover, but it's really labeled as medium red clover. It's also in bloom. And those are important clovers. They produce a lot of mass. But I've noticed, and I've heard again lately, that they're also very stemmy. And certainly I've seen that in the cows rejecting. The older and tougher the plants get. Oh, I didn't realize there was a stone here. That stemminess comes in. So happy to see the clover growth. I try and keep a good mix of clovers and grasses in the field so I don't have to worry about bloat. And I like to see fairly high clover amounts in the fields. Strictly from a fertility standpoint, that means that's less manure or fertilizer I have to spread. And certainly in areas down here like the forest where it's difficult to spread, in the silvopasture areas right now, I don't have the equipment then clover is great for fixing nitrogen. And it seems to thrive down here. Again, that's that. Don't quite have I think the soil pH here in this part of the forest is 5.6, maybe 5.8 in places. I think one spot's 5.2 for proper, good quality grass growth across the spectrum we need of mineralization and protein and all the right stuff to make lots of milk. The soil pH really needs to be about 6. So I'm slowly trying to improve it with a combination of lime and composted manure, which also tends to be a little more alkaline. So the fact that the clover can work in a range of pHs is really, really beneficial. One of the reasons I'm constantly having to set temporary lines up down through here is I just haven't had the time to get down here and set some permanent posts and run some permanent field boundary lines. And also, like where I'm running it here, a lot of the trees in the background get cut out because they're just weedy junk, and that would mean I could have more of this section here. So I just haven't gotten to do that work, and so the areas where I need to run lines aren't quite ready yet. Plus, I'm finding now with the bigger tractor, getting in here to do some of this work with the 3-point hitch post hole digger is not practical. So I really need to get a skid steer mounted solution, and that may be happening. I was gonna just buy a Chinese excavator, mini excavator post hole digger, because they're really cheap. They're only like $600, and then mount it on a skid steer bracket, but they stopped being cheap when tariffs kicked in. So just about the time I was going to do that, they got really expensive, and so I'm just going to wait. I don't have the time now anyway. Once grazing season commences, as we've seen in the big pasture, every bit of loss of grazing ground impacts our ability to feed the cows. So I don't like to be driving on the forage once it's growing and once we're in the season, so I tend to do less. Now, I've made a mess down here with the excavator, but I want to go around the excavator and still be able to graze some of this ground. We're in the swamp, we're in the wet. It's just gonna be, cows are gonna have to be water buffalo for a day. We've got our first dinner of the year on Sunday. It's Saturday today, and I'm cooking it. I'm just not at all confident that I'm ready. And we still have the bathroom to put together, and finish cleaning the barn. So some of you don't know or won't know that I'm a chef, have been a chef. Cooked in restaurants large and small, ran my own catering company, was a private chef to a number of people. And to that end, I also have another channel, the Pod Chef channel. Check it out. Old videos, don't post anything there. Farming just takes far too much time. And I enjoy it. Almost as much, maybe if not more, than cooking. So tonight's the first of our farm-to-table suppers called cowside suppers, because we used to hold them right next to where the cows are grazing. But now the herd's grown larger. They're down in the forest today grazing, and because the weather has been so variable the last 3 or 4 years, we hold them now upstairs in the barn, which is a great venue, and it's just a fixed place so that cutting cucumbers, so we don't have to move the tables and chairs and set up tents and stuff. It was a lot of hassle for oftentimes it's just a couple of us, just Allison and I. Like today, I'm cooking. Normally we try and hire chefs from the restaurants that use the cheese. And so I am cooking today, and that's mainly because, like today, I should be out baling silage or cutting or something in the morning so that I can be free this evening. Because it is such nice weather the last couple days. We had a little bit of rain yesterday, but anyway, so I'm, in the summer, my cooking is cuts into farming. So anyway, don't worry about that. I'm not going to worry about that today. I'm prepping the easy stuff this morning. The menu today is fairly easy. A lot of chilled food because we were planning on it was just going to be Allison and I serving. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Obviously, there were just customers.
I saw that.
So, I don't know.
Don't know what.
If you need to deal with that at all.
Customers?
Yeah.
I'll tell them where to go.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Good luck. So, we also have customers coming throughout the day. Doing a lot of last minute stuff happens in this meal today, but a lot of stuff can be prepared ahead of time and just basically serve it. We're doing gazpacho. That's what I'm working on right now. So I want that to get done first so it has a chance to chill and blend. It's still in the morning. When that's done, I'm going to make the custard for the rhubarb custard tarts. And then I've already got vegetables. We have vegetarians, pescatarians at the dinner tonight, so I'm not going to go full on. Normally I'd be making a chicken stock right now, but we're doing vegetable stock. I'll bolster it for the with some grilled pork and chicken bones for the non-vegetarians when I'm cooking the paella, which is the central event. And I make a mean paella. People have been asking me to cook it again, so that's why I'm doing it today. So we'll have paella and gazpacho and tapas and strawberry and blue cheese salad and a rhubarb creme brulee tart for dessert. So yeah, that's what I'm doing today. Inside on a lovely day, cooking. And we were just talking about going forward. I'd much rather be outside. I'm gonna have to cook the paella on the big grill over live fire. I would much rather be cooking this in an outdoor kitchen today. I don't like being inside. So that's what's happening today. Maybe there'll be some photos and stuff later on. Not only did I remodel the bathroom this weekend, in other words, paint the cabinets and replace the toilet and paint the walls and new hardware and a new shelf in the bathroom, the one the guests use, but also cleaned out and worked on an area of the barn. I replaced the barn floor last week. So all that in aid of getting ready for this first supper. It didn't nearly get as much done as I really needed to or wanted to. And then, so we were up late last night again, working on getting the outside and the prep done for the area so that I could get in here as early as I could this morning. So I did the basic chores. Allison milked, and I've been in here since about 8 working on this because I was doing some work in the barn for in the dining area first thing, and then but I had to go cut the cows out of the forest this morning. They did not want to come up the hill to the milking parlor, and that led to a gate being broken, a spring gate being stretched and snapped, and cow getting it wrapped around her leg, and all kinds of chaos and pandemonium this morning. I was not at 7:30 in the mood to be cooking. Maybe something switched. I don't know. I'm having fun right now. Let's hope it stays that way.